Hey, how's it going, guys? What's up, Kid Trevor? So today I'm going to show you guys all the different ways that I know of to waterproof your fire starter. So some fire starters, like a lighter or matches, you need to make them waterproof so that if they get wet, they won't get ruined. But other stuff like a flint and steel or a fire or like magnesium rod, they can get soaking wet and you can just dry them off and they'll still work. So let's check this stuff out. Okay, so here we go. Here's what I got today. So something like a fire starter, magnesium rod with a piece of steel. This stuff can get soaking wet, and you just dry it off, and it'll still work. I just got it soaking wet, and it still works. But then other stuff like a lighter or matches, if they get wet, they're done. Like if I took an ordinary match, stuck it in the water, got it wet, dried it off. What? I got the match wet and it still works. Okay, well, let's say your match gets soaking wet. It's not gonna work anymore. But if you do something like you wanna go into your sister's bedroom, you wanna find the nail polish, you wanna take the nail polish, you wanna go back to where your matches and stuff are, you wanna cover the matches in the nail polish, then you wanna take the nail polish back to your sister's room so she doesn't notice that you use her nail polish, and then you should be good. So how do you do it with the nail polish? Take a match, open up the nail polish, and just get the tip of the match wet with nail polish. Nail polish is pretty waterproof, so this will make your matches waterproof. So once this is dry, you can get it soaking wet, and you just dry it off, and it'll work. So I'm going to put this aside and let it dry, and we're going to check out some other stuff. Put that match over there. Another way to waterproof your matches is to take a candle, light the candle, and dip the tip of your match in the wax. And that'll make like a coat of wax on the match, and then if your match gets wet, it'll still work after. So let's light this candle. Let some of the wax melt. Okay, so once there's some wax melted, then you can So you want to take your match, and you don't have to put out the flame, you just want to dip it in the wax. Try to get it nice and soaked. Make sure the entire tip of the match is soaked with wax. There's a nice layer of wax on the tip of that match, and once that is dry, which it's probably already dry by now, when I go to use it, it'll work, and if it gets wet, it won't ruin it. Good way to waterproof your matches. So once you've done that, you can blow out the candle. Smoke a candle aside, and those are the two ways that I know of to waterproof your matches. They sell waterproof, like stormproof matches, which you can light them and literally put them in the water and take them out and they'll still be lit. But if you don't have stormproof matches, you got to be able to make them with stuff that you have at your house. I'm sure at your home you can find some nail polish, and I'm sure you can find a candle. So these are quick, easy ways that you could go do right now so that in an emergency you have some matches that are waterproof in case they get wet. So another easy way to start a fire is by using a lighter. Lighters just make it easy. So a quick tip that I like to do with lighters is take like a little rubber band and wrap it around the top of the lighter, right underneath the little fuel trigger thing, so that if you don't put a rubber band, something in your bag or something could push this down and you'll lose all your fuel. But like this, it can't get pushed down. You can still light a fire, but you have to push on this really hard. But like this, it saves you from potentially losing all the fuel in your valuable lighter because something was accidentally pushing on or something. So just a quick tip. So I'm sorry, but you can't cover your lighter in nail polish. It won't make it waterproof. But what you can do is take something like a Ziploc bag, or you could take a smaller bag, or anything that is waterproof, and stick your lighters, and if you wanted, also your matches inside. This is what I would do if I were you. I would first make my stuff waterproof as much as I can, like with nail polish and candle wax, and then after they're like that, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag so that they're like double waterproof. like this, your lighters will be fine if your bag gets wet. If your bag gets submersed underwater and your Ziplocs aren't closed tightly, water might get in there, but if you close them tightly, these are waterproof. Another thing I like to do, which doesn't have anything to do with making your lighter waterproof, but I like to wrap some duct tape around my lighter so that if I'm like making a fire or something and I like accidentally burn myself or something, I can take a quick take a piece of duct tape real quick and just put it right on, like a little bandage, if I had to really quickly. So now it's time to test if putting nail polish on your matches or putting candle wax on your matches will make them waterproof. So we're going to put them in the water, hold them underneath there for a good amount of time. Once you get them out, grab whatever you got to dry them off. You don't have to do this because they're going to work, because they'll work if they get wet. I would not suggest making your matches, then getting them wet, and then like drying them off and just putting them in your bag expecting that they're going to work. I would just make them waterproof like this and then set them aside. So after I put them in the water for a little. Now it's time to test. Sometimes it'll take a few strikes to scrape off some of the candle wax or the nail polish, but once it lights, it lights. And as you can see, I got a nice match that just went out because it's just decided to. But yeah, now we're going to test the candle wax match, which I also soaked. You know what I think happens when you put candle wax is once it lights, the candle wax helps the flame. So not only does it make your matches waterproof, but it helps light them. Usually a normal match won't do that. What's that? Probably just like some weird animal or something. Okay guys, so those are just a quick few simple ways to waterproof your matches. And everyone knows this, but if you put your stuff in a Ziploc bag or something like that, they're gonna be waterproof. Yeah guys, those are just a few quick simple ways to waterproof your matches. And as everyone knows, if you put your fire starters in a Ziploc bag and it gets wet, they're gonna work after. But the reason that a lot of people like to carry something like a ferrocenium rod or a flint and steel is because if it gets wet, it'll always work after. Like if it gets soaking wet, you could submerge it underwater for literally a year and take it out and it's gonna work. If you take a match and it gets wet even after doing something like this, it might not work. It's not 100% that it'll always work after it gets wet from making it waterproof. So I suggest always having something like a ferrocenium rod, fire starter, because you don't want to just rely on your matches that you've waterproofed them at home, because they can fail. So make sure that's not your only way to start a fire. So as always, thanks for watching. I am almost at 500 subscribers, and as soon as I get there, I'm going to be making a special video, so go subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.